years old, she wanted to be a veterinarian. She always wanted to be a veterinarian. That was her dream. Today, she is a veterinarian, and she loves it. But I went to her graduation from the University of Georgia 10 or 12 years ago. We had a break, and I was speaking to one of the other parents who was there for her son's graduation. She said, "What is your child going to do?" She said, everybody think, you know, that your child is my niece. Anyway, she said, "My son is graduating in the field of education. I'm worried he might not be able to get a job." You know, that was during a period where there was kind of a flood of teachers. So I said, "Well, my niece is going to be a vet, and she's going on to vet school. She'd already been accepted at the University of Georgia." And she said, "You know, in 1952, my sister came from Nashville to the University of Georgia to apply for the school to go to be veterinarian. They said, we're sorry, but we don't have female students here." And that makes me very emotional, because she loves the animals, she loves what she does, she followed her dream, and we helped her to have that opportunity. The women made it, and women throughout all generations have been hard workers and willing to say we can do it, not like we did. Anyway, that motivated me to be here today, and I'm so thankful I had that opportunity to be a part of that workforce of women, and to play a part in winning World War II. Now, Becca's gonna have to help me. My computer is pretty old. I can't find any new parts.
We're excited to have
I've been talking and just go blank all of a sudden.
It happens to the best of us.
She's gonna prompt me, or I'll just wander off somewhere. And you can also stop me and go on to the next question.
Yes,
You have
ma'am.
my permission to interrupt.
Very good, very good. Well, first of all, thank you for that initial story. We appreciate that. And can you tell us what led you to being a Rosie? You know, back when World War II started, what led you and your mom and sister to become?
The fact that we were still in the end of the Depression, and most everybody was poor. We don't like that word, but that's what we were. And my mother worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for $25 a month. And she had 2 children. She was a single mom, which was a terrible thing for her. Nobody in her family had ever been divorced. Nobody in her hometown of Lima, Alabama had ever been divorced. Anyway, we were trying, and a lot of the stories that I've heard, it was actually the desire to get out of debt and to have something to do. And there was no opportunity in Lima, Alabama. So we went to Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, so how did you get to Savannah?
What?
How did you get from Alabama to Savannah? Tell us that story.
Very interesting experience in my story. As a child, I traveled on the train every summer to visit my grandparents and one of my aunts. In the train, you could open the windows and the cold smoke would blow in your face. It was wonderful. But anyway, it was never, that train was never, and my mother would put us on the train and my aunt would meet us in Birmingham. But when we got on the train in Heflin, Alabama to go to Savannah, I was stunned. It was wall-to-wall khakis uniforms. It was a troop train. There were no seats. We sat on our suitcases. That was okay. I was 16. I didn't mind. And some of them, a good many of those young men were gentlemen. They'd give my mother their seat and they would go somewhere else. So, but it took us 16 hours to get to Savannah.
Wow, it's fascinating. What was a work day like building the Liberty ships? Tell us what your job was and what it was like when you went to work.
we were trained, we were hired to be welders, at the shipyard in Savannah. My mother had a cousin in Savannah, that's how we heard about the job. But when, let's see, I'm going blank. Well, I'll get it, wait a minute. When we went to work that first day, we went to the interview. The interviewer said, you will be making you'll be making $1.20 an hour while you're training. I had been working since I was 14 at the 5 and dime store, dollar store now. And so I made it there, I made $1 a day. Can you imagine being 16 and somebody telling you you're gonna make $1.20 an hour? So anyway, that was the first that I learned about it. We went to school for 6 weeks, and then we were put on the job. And it's rod welding is what I did. My mother and sister and I all were rod welders, and it's hard work. It's hot work. I don't know how many of you are familiar with welding. I certainly never even heard of it. And you had the challenge to me of that job was to keep the equipment working. I didn't mind sweating all day, and you did that. It was hot. It was in Savannah, Georgia, on the river. There was no air conditioning anywhere. Now, that was probably good. We didn't ever get cool and then hot again. I could do that. But they had, you just poured absolutely, you were sweating, and they had little salt dispenser machines in every area, so you could have some, if you felt faint, your sodium, we didn't know what it was, we just go eat the salt cabinet, that's what they told us to do. So, but it was a dangerous place to work, not for me. I worked on the slab, which means we were out on the yard and we welded together the prefab parts of the ship. And then they would take them by the crane and place them on way up on the ways for the ship to be put together. So it was, but it was dangerous, really dangerous to work up on the way. Where I was, I didn't ever see anybody critically injured. My sister said that she saw some workers fall from the top deck down into the bottom of the ship, and she didn't think there was any way that they would survive because it was all iron that they landed on. But it was a challenge, and at 16, everything, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. My sister didn't like it. She didn't like wearing this headscarf. She wanted to wear pretty clothes, wear dresses like that.
Can you tell us more about what you wore? What did you have to wear?
Anyway, she tried to quit once. They said, sorry, but you can't quit. We signed a defense policy that we'd have to let you know when you could quit. So she didn't quit. But I liked it. I was really challenged by it.
Tell us more about what you had to wear.
What I had to wear?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to keep you safe.
We wore, not coveralls like I wish we need to have somebody talk to you about airplanes, but I'm sorry, after this is, let's learn about ships. But, we wore pants. We were shunned by the people in the community. Women wearing pants are not good women. They're not ladies. And so, anyway, tell me.
Yeah, so you had to wear pants. What else did you have to wear?
We had to wear a shield. That's not, this would be an airplane work. But you've seen the pictures that they put some of the slides. The shielding was a very important thing, and the only painful thing that happened to me at work was I would get heartburn for your eyes. You couldn't have them. You had to have your shield glasses, protection part of it, examined carefully often because it's a tiny leak. And I know it's going to be too long.
Yeah, that's fine. We are here for you.
I had a date one evening and we didn't have cars, so we went on the bus downtown to the movie, and I'd heard people talk about having a ray burn from welding. So I never had experience in it, so comedy in the movie was. And all of a sudden the tears just started pouring off my cheeks. And I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. But it was very embarrassing to my date. I'm sure we got on the bus coming home from the movie. And I couldn't stop the tears. No, people were looking at it. What have you done? And abused. But it hurts. It feels like somebody's taken a handful of sand and rubbed it in your eyes. There's nothing you can do but just. And this is interesting to me. We did grate a potato, an Irish potato we call them then, and we would put it on our eyes, and that would stop the burning. And I told the young man that he wouldn't believe it. He was a patient of mine. And I told him I used to be a welder. He said, a woman welder? And I said, yeah. That's what I did during World War II. But they still use potato to treat the burn.
That's pretty neat. What, how many years were you a welder?
I was a welder 2.5.
2.5 years, okay. And so once everything went back to the new normal, and you were no longer a welder, what did you do? What did you miss work? Did you end up?
No, well, not really, but I missed the pay. But I stayed out of high school 2 years or more, and I was gonna go to back to high school in my hometown. I tried to go in Savannah, and I didn't have enough credits in the high school I went to during the Depression. So anyway, I knew that I was going back to high school. And, people in my family said, don't let Jane go to work and stay out of school. She'll never go back to school. And it's one of the strongest convictions I've ever had was, yes, I will. You don't have to worry, I'll go back to school. And I didn't have any idea, had never had any idea that I'd go to college. Didn't know what I was going to do. The war ended. But I knew I was going back to school, so I didn't have to worry. And a lot of the people at the shipyard, when we knew the war was coming to an end, went ahead and quit, and were allowed to quit. And they went so they wanted to stay in that area, they started looking for jobs. But I worked until I had to go back to school in August.
And then you went to college and you became a dental hygienist. And you did that for
53 years, and I loved it.
Very good. Do we have time for a couple of questions from the audience?